When Katrina and Travis Spence stepped into apartment 210 on Tremont Street, they were immediately gripped by an eerie premonition. The surroundings seemed suspicious and unusual. Strange stains on the floor, chaotically rearranged furniture, and Jasmine's small travel bag lying on the kitchen table only heightened their unease. Rummaging through the dumpster near the building, they stumbled upon a pair of white sneakers that closely resembled those captured by the surveillance cameras at the Walmart supermarket. Only at midnight, armed with a search warrant, did the police return to the scene. A special reagent designed to detect hidden traces of liquid made the corridor glow brightly under ultraviolet light. It became evident that Jasmine Pace's disappearance was not a mere disappearance but a genuine crime. A few days prior, Jasmine had planned to celebrate Thanksgiving with her family, but at the last moment, to her mother's surprise, she abruptly changed her plans. Soon after, a post appeared on her Facebook page where she shared her joy of celebrating with a loved one. However, the photo accompanying the post was taken long ago. Her recent tattoos were not visible in it. Concerned, Katrina called her daughter's friend, May, to ensure that Jasmine was indeed staying with her. The suspicions were only confirmed. May had not seen the girl. The family immediately began searching. Jasmine's car was equipped with a GPS tracker, so her mother was able to determine the vehicle's location. It was found parked near an apartment complex on Moton Creek Row. The driver's seat was pushed far back, indicating that someone taller than Jasmine had been behind the wheel. Examining the details of her daughter's calls, Katrina discovered a lengthy conversation with Jason Chen, a student at the University of Tennessee. When the police asked him if he had communicated with Jasmine recently, Jason claimed that their last conversation lasted only a few minutes. However, the call log showed a 71-minute call. Thanks to the footage from surveillance cameras, investigators were able to reconstruct the sequence of events. The cameras recorded Jasmine's arrival at Jason's apartment complex late in the evening of November 23. A day later, her car was spotted leaving the place. An unknown man in a light-colored hoodie was behind the wheel. Later, the same person was seen at Walmart purchasing cleaning supplies and hydrogen peroxide. On December 1, police officers discovered Jason Chen's suitcase, inside which lay the body of Jasmine Pace. This 21-year-old girl was a loving aunt to two nieces and a godmother to a boy named Juan. Her older sister Gabby recounted that Jasmine dreamed of having her own family and often shared thoughts about what kind of mother she wanted to be. She adored animals and took great care of her 4 cats. To her loved ones and friends, Jasmine always remained a cheerful, kind Jazzy who surrounded her family with care. She was remembered as someone ready to help at any moment. Throughout the trial, Jasmine Pace's family filed a civil lawsuit against Jason Chen's parents. The document stated that they had harbored their son and financially supported him in the days following the crime when he was already considered the main suspect, while the family was desperately searching for their missing daughter. Jasmine's death and the subsequent court hearings became a difficult ordeal for her loved ones. Travis Pace admitted that his relationship with Katrina had deteriorated. When he was called to testify in Jason's defense, some family members demonstratively left the courtroom. Yet, despite everything, with the announcement of the verdict, their long path to justice came to an end. For them, Jasmine's killer was the embodiment of evil, and the crime itself was characterized by the prosecution as cruel and horrific. But this was only the finale of the story. Let's break down how it all began. Late in the evening of November 23, Jasmine sent her mother a message with a geolocation point but no text. The message arrived at 2:18 a.m. This was highly unusual, as the girl had never done anything like this before, especially at such a late hour. When the police ignored the concerns of Jasmine's parents, the family decided to go to the address indicated themselves, an apartment complex at 310 Tremont Street. Upon arriving at the scene, they began knocking on the neighbors' doors. All the residents responded except for one, apartment 210. The neighbors recalled that around 2:15 a.m. on November 23, loud sounds resembling an argument were heard coming from this apartment. Somehow, Katrina and Travis managed to get inside. Immediately upon entering, they saw a notebook with the resident's name, Jason Chen. The apartment had an open floor plan with a small area. The kitchen and living room were adjacent. The only bedroom was located at the end of the corridor, and a washing machine was hidden in the closet. The entire layout was in plain sight. On the kitchen table lay Jasmine's small travel bag, with cleaning supplies nearby. Opening the desk drawer, Travis stumbled upon Jasmine's driver's license and her bank cards, which she had left in a visible place. The Chattanooga police arrived at the call again. The officers questioned Katrina and the neighbors but once more took no decisive action. Disappointed by the inaction of law enforcement, the parents continued searching for any leads. Katrina returned to the apartment several times, taking laptops, phones, a camera, and a tablet, hoping to find clues about her daughter's whereabouts. They even searched the dumpsters near the building. Only closer to midnight did the police return with a search warrant. Examining the apartment, they noticed dark stains on the wooden floor in the living room, on the tiles in the bathroom, and on the carpet in the bedroom. Traces were also found on the doors and walls. The large amount of cleaning supplies raised suspicion. In the trash, they found a pair of white sneakers and blue pants, which were immediately seized as evidence. In the living room, among the shards of glass, the furniture looked as if it had recently been moved. Imprints of objects that had previously been in other places remained on the carpet. Under the bed in the bedroom, a large dark spot was visible, and a folding knife lay on the bed itself. In each room, stains similar to blood traces were found. For a more detailed analysis, experts used a special reagent capable of detecting hidden traces of liquid. After treating the premises, the corridor filled with bright luminescence. From then on, Jasmine Pace's disappearance was considered a criminal offense. Law enforcement officers seized video recordings from surveillance cameras located in the building and the surrounding area. Thanks to the painstaking work of investigators, it was possible to reconstruct the chronology of Jason Chen's movements, giving hope for understanding Jasmine Pace's possible whereabouts. It was indisputably established that the girl had arrived at the apartment complex on Tremont Street on November 22, shortly before midnight. Video cameras captured the moment her Chevrolet Equinox entered the parking lot. Later, the same car was noticed leaving the place. The route of the vehicle was traced to residential buildings associated with Jason, around 8:30 p.m. the next day. Within minutes of Jasmine's vehicle leaving the complex, the cameras captured a person in a light-colored hoodie who got behind the wheel and headed towards the Signal View condominiums. According to video surveillance records, a dark car, probably a Prius used as a taxi, picked up this individual and drove them back to Jason's residence. The camera of the intercom near the exit to the parking lot recorded Chen leaving the building several times on November 23, including at 8:27 p.m., 3 minutes before an unknown person in light clothing got into Jasmine's car and left it near the mentioned condominiums. On Thanksgiving Day, Jason made several more trips that drew the attention of the investigation. In the morning, he visited a Walmart supermarket, where, among other things, he purchased bandages, hydrogen peroxide, and cleaning supplies. When checking out at the self-service cash register, he rang up expensive items as cheap vegetables. The store's cameras recorded his footwear, white sneakers similar to those later found in the dumpsters near his apartment. That same day, Chen stopped by a Walgreens pharmacy and bought a pack of paper towels. In the intervals between these trips and the moment he left the residence with signs of hasty cleaning, Jason likely removed Jasmine's body from the building, attempting to cover his tracks. Detectives continued to analyze surveillance camera footage throughout the city, tracing the suspect's movements. The light-colored hoodie, a bright detail of his wardrobe, greatly facilitated the task, standing out even in dark and blurry frames. Around 6 p.m. on November 23, the video cameras again captured this hoodie. A person, exerting considerable effort, was dragging a large suitcase through the front door of the building and heading towards the parking lot. A few minutes later, Jason's black Toyota Camry left the complex. A week had passed since Jasmine's disappearance, and Chen was found at his parents' residence in Knoxville. During the arrest, cuts characteristic of signs of a struggle were noticed on his hands and feet. A search of his room yielded a black backpack and several handwritten notes. In some of the notes, Jason seemed to be trying to construct his version of events. In one of them, he claimed that he had last seen Jasmine on November 19 and had communicated with her on the 22nd. In other places, Chen wrote about her habit of disappearing, about a restraining court order against a former partner, and about her mother's alcohol abuse, hinting at the girl's unpredictability. It resembled an attempt to prepare for an interrogation. Inside a glasses case found in the backpack, investigators discovered a SIM card belonging to Jasmine. They also seized Jason's phone, and the data from it was fully copied. During the analysis, a photo of Pace taken in the suspect's bathroom was found on the device. On the night of Jasmine's disappearance, screenshots of messages received from her were detected on Chen's device, but the text of the correspondence itself was absent. The following morning, when the girl was probably already dead, he sent her a photo with a caption in which he mentioned how wonderfully he had slept. Later that day, Jason inquired whether their dinner plans were still on. The image's metadata showed that it had been created 2 years prior. Information from Jasmine's phone allowed investigators to establish that on the morning of her disappearance, the device was with Chen at Walmart, where cameras recorded him making purchases alone. Further movements of the gadget showed that after loading a large suitcase into his car, Jason headed to Suck Creek Road, a road along the river. On Thursday, December 1st, investigators surveying the shoreline stumbled upon the expected find, Jason Chen's large suitcase, inside which lay Jasmine Pace. Her body, weighing 40 to 45 kilograms, was wrapped in 3 garbage bags. The girl's hands and feet were handcuffed, one hand chained to a leg and the other to an elbow. These were not standard law enforcement handcuffs, their links were less durable, and one of them turned out to be broken. A forensic medical examination established that Jasmine had suffered at least 60 stab and cut wounds, most of which were on the upper left part of her body. The knife blade was found in her chest. In December 2022, the court set bail for Jason Chen at $5 million. When details of the crime leaked to the press, the public was outraged by the very fact that he was given such an opportunity. By that time, investigators had already reconstructed the full chronology of events, confirming that Jason had used Jasmine's phone and SIM card to access her bank accounts and social media, posting false messages on her behalf. To one of the women he had met on Tinder, Chen wrote that they were now dating, even though Jasmine's body was likely still in his apartment. That same evening, he arranged to play Call of Duty with friends, noting that he only had to finish cleaning. When the case went to trial in January 2025, Jason Chen's defense chose an unexpected tactic. On the very first day of the proceedings, attorney Josh Wise did not deny his client's guilt. He told the jury that Chen had indeed committed a crime but without premeditated intent. According to him, it was an unintentional act, not a deliberate one. Although the prosecution was not seeking the death penalty, Jason faced life imprisonment without the possibility of parole if convicted of a first-degree crime. The only chance to avoid such an outcome was to get the case reclassified to a less severe charge. In this case, the evidence was indisputable. There was no need for assumptions or fantasies. Jasmine Pace was a real person, and Jason Chen committed a crime. To prove that the incident could be qualified as unintentional homicide, the defense needed to convince the jury that Jason had acted in a state of strong emotional distress. The defense's version was that the couple had been drinking wine in Chen's apartment until late at night. At some point, Jasmine went to the kitchen to fetch a new bottle. It was then that she heard the sound of a notification arriving on Jason's phone. These were messages from a dating app. The enraged girl started an argument. The attorneys claimed that during the conflict, Pace attacked Chen, breaking a glass and injuring him. On the nightstand in the bedroom lay a knife that had previously been used to open the bottle. Allegedly, this was the knife Jason grabbed to fend off the attack. The presence of handcuffs on Jasmine's body was explained by the panic the suspect felt after the incident. It was claimed that he used them to pack the girl's body into a suitcase. However, investigators carefully reconstructed the sequence of events based on surveillance camera footage, cell phone data, and witness statements. Courtney Brewer, a neighbor in the apartment complex, confirmed that she had heard a loud quarrel on the night of November 23, shortly after 2 o'clock. According to her, the girl was awakened by a scream filled with fear and despair. Courtney even looked at her phone, intending to call emergency services, but then the noise subsided. She heard quick footsteps, as if someone was trying to escape, and then loud thuds indicating a fight. Reconstructing the probable scenario of what happened, investigators relied on physical evidence, but this proved to be a challenging task. Jason had used various cleaning agents and tried to dispose of evidence, including the knife with the damaged blade. Moreover, the apartment was inspected several times by Jasmine's mother, Katrina Pace, which called into question the purity of the forensic picture. The defense tried to use this fact to their advantage. During the court hearing, an expert invited by Jason's attorneys noted that after the police's first visit, the situation in the apartment had changed. Furniture had been moved, and some items had disappeared. The question arose, could some of the evidence have been planted? Travis Pace, Jasmine's father, also testified. He claimed that during the initial inspection of the apartment, he had not noticed a knife on the bed, although investigators later found it there. However, the conclusions of the forensic medical examination left no doubt. Dr. Stephen Kohut from Hamilton County noted that the location of the wounds indicated that Jasmine had been in a bent position during the attack. Moreover, the handcuffs the girl was shackled in were likely put on while she was still alive. When a person is wounded 60 times, they usually try to resist and escape. But what if they cannot? What if their movements are restricted? The forensic medical examination showed that Jasmine had been handcuffed. Her right hand was chained to her right leg, and her left leg to her right elbow. This significantly limited her mobility, making escape or self-defense impossible. Dr. Kohut observed that when attacked on the right side of the body, the victim usually instinctively defends themselves with both hands. However, Jasmine had injuries only on her left arm, which supported the version that she was in a crouched position and unable to move. Moreover, during the autopsy, no traces of alcohol were found in the girl's body, refuting Jason's claim about their hours-long wine drinking. Data from his phone also showed that on the day of the crime, he had not received any notifications from the dating app, although the defense tried to present this as the main reason for the conflict. Jason Chen refused to testify in his own defense. The evidence was examined over 6 days. In their closing arguments, his attorneys effectively abandoned the initial version of events. Instead, they focused on the absence of handcuff marks on Jasmine's wrists. The defense expert tried to prove that the girl could have been handcuffed after death, referring to a possible handprint on the bedding. However, during cross-examination, he admitted that these traces had never been examined, so one could not be sure of their origin. In addition to the presence of handcuffs, the intentional nature of the crime was confirmed by the number of wounds inflicted. This indicated that Jason had had enough time to stop but continued to strike. In his speech, prosecutor Cody Vamp summarized the chronology of events, particularly emphasizing the testimony of Courtney Brewer, who heard someone running towards the front door at 2:11 a.m. 7 minutes later. At 2:18 a.m., Jasmine sent her mother a geolocation point. This meant that she was aware of the danger and managed to use her phone before Jason began his attack. The jury began deliberations around 4:15 p.m. after the closing speeches and returned with a verdict in less than an hour. Jason Chen was found guilty. When determining the sentence, the jurors had to decide whether he would have the possibility of parole. Jason's mother, through an interpreter, appealed to the court to give her son a chance to one day be released. She stated that he was a good person and did not deserve life imprisonment. The defense attorney urged the jurors to give his client an opportunity to atone for his guilt. He argued that the justice system should reflect not only the attitude towards law-abiding citizens but also how society treats those who have already been convicted. In his opinion, granting Jason the chance of parole after 50 years would prove that even the worst people are capable of trying to restore their humanity. He reminded the jury that their task was not to forgive Jason or justify his actions, but merely to ensure a fair sentence in which there should be room for mercy. The jury reached a decision in less than an hour. On the first count of the indictment, the court ruled that the crime was characterized by particular cruelty, included torture, and inflicted serious injuries that went beyond what was necessary for death to occur. By a unanimous decision, it was established that Jason Chen was to serve life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Thank you for watching this story. Write your thoughts about it in the comments. Don't miss the future videos, subscribe and like the channel. Take care of yourself and people you love.